Hi guys, just doing a rewatch of Twin Peaks episode 6 called Realization Time. It was directed by Caleb Deschanel and written by Harley Payton, which was the same person who wrote episode 3, Rest in Pain. This is the penultimate episode of season 1. So the episode begins exactly where the last one ended, with Audrey in Cooper's bed and Dale faced with the decision of what to do next. It's pretty obvious that Dale really finds Audrey attractive, and the fact that he says that he's an agent of the FBI, you know, he's making it, I think he is making it clear that if he wasn't professionally engaged, that he would perhaps consider a relationship with Audrey. It's so sweet. Audrey comes across as really sweet. I think she's completely genuine, and she you can see that there's a lot of vulnerability in her. She's sort of offering herself up to a man, perhaps for the first time, and I think you know, she seems really fragile. He does still speak to her like she's a little child, almost as if she is between childhood and adulthood. You know, he's saying, I'm gonna go and get 2 malts and fries, and we can talk about it like friends. I think that he is treating her with, you know, kid gloves, very softly. I think he understands that she is very tender. That's an interesting line when she says, I can't tell you all my secrets. It's almost like she is tapping into Laura Palmer's psyche. Perhaps she thinks that this is alluring to have secrets like Laura did, and that's why she's using it to try and entice Cooper into thinking that she is a more interesting character. So it's implied that it's pretty obvious that Lucy is pregnant from the conversation she has with the doctor and the fact that Cooper said she was out sick yesterday. Lucy and Andy are still fighting, but there is always a comedy moment during their conversations. Cooper doesn't like birds. Why doesn't he like birds? So they get the evidence back from Jacques Reno's cabin, and they are able to identify that who visited the cabin. Cooper recognizes Laura's body and hair in the picture with the bird, and he also is told by Hawk that Jacques Reno is a dealer in One-Eyed Jacks, and Cooper decides that it would be a good idea if the Bookhouse boys went and did some investigation into Jacques Reno. So Leo has finally seen Bobby and Shelley together, and he looks as though he is going to kill him. Shelley seems pretty worried about Leo, which is surprising considering the way he's treated her in the past, and she almost sounds like she's guilty for thinking that she shot him, saying that it sounded like a wounded animal when she shot him. I certainly wouldn't feel guilty about shooting the bastard. Excuse me, but you know, the guy is a complete jerk. I think Shelley realizes that this is a huge moment in her relationship with Leo, and that she's gone beyond a point where it's safe for her to be around him anymore. She's done something that is so bad that, you know, he's going to get revenge on her for doing it. She's looking to Bobby for protection, and I think she's thinking, you know, should I run? Should I leave? Because she knows that Leo is so brutal. The fact that Bobby mentions James in the same way that he mentions Leo, he says that he's going to sort Leo and James out, suggests that he thinks that James might have killed Laura, and that it's his duty sort of to do something about that. So James, Donna and Madeline are listening to the tapes that Laura made for Dr. Jacoby, and Laura sounds really sultry, almost as if she is trying to seduce Dr. Jacoby on the tape. And she talks about how easy it is to make men like her, and I think that the style that she's speaking, the things that she's saying, it makes her alluring, and she knows it. She has this purring style voice that's reminiscent of sort of Marilyn Monroe, a babyish tone to it that makes her sound vulnerable and yet sexy. So Audrey is snooping around at Horne's department store, and she's able to discover that the management at Horne's is running some kind of scheme, whereas the girls are being groomed for sexual favours. Hank Jennings is perfecting his nicey-nicey act. You know, he's pretending he doesn't know anything about Big Ed and Norma, but clearly he has revenge on his mind. He's really buttering up Shelley, trying to make her feel as if he is a good guy and he is an upstanding guy, having paid his debt to society by being in prison. But really he's just the same old Hank. A little bit of gravity from Harry when he looks at Hank and exclaims that he thinks that people don't change in life. That's kind of a hard view to have, to carry through life. So it tells you a little bit more about the kind of person Harry is. Perhaps he just sees black and white. This is followed up by a little advice from Cooper to give yourself a present every day, and you get the sense that Cooper might be sort of helping the sheriff to perhaps have a little bit of a different viewpoint on life and people and human behaviour. I like the sense that Cooper is sort of spiritually re-educating Harry, because it's a really nice central relationship to the show that is heartwarming, and it's nice to see it develop as we go along through the series. When Ed tells Nadine to never give up, the way he speaks is sort of like melodramatic. It reminds me of like a 1950s movie, and yet you get the impression that he really means it, and that he does have deep feelings for Nadine despite loving Norma. He has this deep respect and admiration for Nadine's dreams and hopes, even if they are crazy. Cooper looks pretty slick in his tuxedo outfit to visit One-Eyed Jack's. He does come across as more like a city slicker when he's in this getup and flashing the bureau's money around. He seems to be getting a kick out of that. Catherine is such a strong villain. She has these qualities of being able to survive in a man's world. So Leo shoots Waldo because he heard over the police radio that the bird was going to be used as a witness, but it's too late because Cooper had already set up the recorder to record the bird if he spoke. And we get this really creepy moment where Madeline is dressed as Laura, and it's almost spine tingling. It's a little bit freaky. James is clearly taken aback by the fact that Madeline looks so much like Laura. Okay, so we get the scene with Audrey talking to Blackie, trying to infiltrate One-Eyed Jack's, and Audrey's trying to put on this facade of being really brave, and she clearly is a little bit scared, but she's hiding it pretty well. I've talked about this before in other videos, but the cherry scene is pretty... it's a very memorable scene. We get James and Donna sneaking into Dr. Jacoby's office whilst Madeline is distracting Jacoby, and while James and Donna are inside, Bobby tries to set up James by putting drugs in his motorcycle. The end scene, we see Madeline dressed as Laura on the gazebo, and we see this unknown perspective, which we have to assume is Jacoby, although the scene went pretty quickly from Jacoby leaving to someone watching Madeline, so you get the sense that it might be someone different watching. You get a sense that this is going to go somewhere else. There's going to be further implications to the fact that she looks like Laura and can act like Laura. What I've noticed in the past couple of episodes is that the comedy has been a little light in comparison with some of the earlier episodes, where it was a bit more of a black comedy early on. That's given way to a more dramatic feel and a continuation of the mystery and the unveiling of clues, trying to get us closer to the reveal of who killed Laura Palmer. Even kind of Lucy and Andy's story this episode was a little bit serious and dark, because she didn't come across as being particularly happy about her phone call to the doctor. At this point, I guess she could be pregnant or ill, but pregnancy seems the most likely. There's also the sense that we are getting to a culmination of sorts in regards to what we know so far about the Laura Palmer mystery, and Cooper is getting closer and closer every episode to finding out more about all of the secrets that we know so far. It was the penultimate episode, and I think you do start to feel like there is going to be a bit of momentum, especially with Cooper and the Bookhouse boys at the casino. You feel like there is going to be some kind of action there. What else stood out to me in that episode was Ed and Nadine sharing that moment of madness almost. Ed was indulging in Nadine's madness because of the fact that she believed so deeply that her drape runners would be successful, and she had almost lost that hope. Ed was giving her an inner hope. He didn't want her to lose that fire inside of her, if that's all that she had to hold on to give her a passion in life, and apparently that's the way he was treating her, as if that's all she had and all that animated her. And it was kind of a sad scene, but at the same time it was almost romantic between the two of them, because of the fact that he was giving her his approval and his support still, despite the fact that her mental health has obviously been a barrier between the two of them for quite a long time. Also, what stood out to me in the episode obviously is Audrey. Not just that sexy little scene with the cherry stalk, but the fact that she is getting so far in. She's almost in over her head, and clearly she is putting herself in a lot of danger, and she is such a sweet character. She has this tough exterior, but inside she's really soft and naive, and you do get to start to feel at this point that a worry for her, because you know that once she gets herself so far in, you don't know how she's going to get out of that. You don't want her to end up like Laura, and you feel that that's the way she's going. Okay, so that's all for now. Next time I'm going to be rewatching and recapping the finale episode of season 1. If you want to join me for that, you're more than welcome. If you would like to subscribe to my channel, you will be informed of any updates to my channel, including any rewatches and recaps that I do, as well as news videos and fun videos. And you can comment below on what you thought about this episode. And until next time, goodbye.